Hello, welcome to Cardano for Seniors. This is August the 3rd. We're having our weekly meeting, 500 or 5 o'clock ESD or EST. And we have a very light agenda today. Tomorrow is the last day to register your wallets. Actually, tonight is, depending on your time zone. And while voting starts in about a week. So if you haven't registered your wallet yet and you want to discuss how to do it, today we can do that. I have about 6, 7 different Cardano wallets, so I merged them all into one. I register them, and then I only have to vote one time instead of the 6 or 7 smaller wallets. Cost me a few dollars in Cardano and ADA each time, but to me it's worth it. Any questions? Everybody register or set themselves up to vote, or have any questions on that?
It looks like you only register once. You have to register. You don't have to re-register, do you?
Correct, Bob.
Okay, good. That's what I thought.
As
Thanks.
long as you don't close out the wallet or out of the voting app.
Right. Okay.
Good, but you do need the QR code and the PIN code.
Okay.
Okay. I do it because different things going in and out of the wallets and different amounts. So I consolidate the different wallets that I have into one, just so I don't have to be bothered. So it's a pain in the ass, especially if you try to vote. And now there's, I don't know how many proposals, but it's around 1,200 proposals. So it's tough over the week and a half or 2 weeks, whatever they give you, to vote everything, which is why they're pushing this DREP very heavily. So cool. What else is going on in the world? Kevin's in Florida. Bob is in Florida. Must be the place to be. Teresa, you're in New Hampshire, and Tom is in lovely downtown Plattsburgh, New York. So lovely. Yes. As I was saying, we made a presentation for our proposals for Cardano for Senior in front of Cardano for Climate today. It was about a 3-minute presentation with a 5-10 minute after question. Last week we proposed, I think, in 3 different events. One was Emergo. One was with Kanma, which is I'll call it an Indian group, and I forget who the other one was, but we did it. We made the presentations. So it was the Idea Fest. I'm sorry, Swarm. It was the Idea Fest on Saturday. So that went over pretty good. So now, as we were talking, register to vote, and the DREPs, not the DREPs, the VPAs, Veteran Proposal Assessors, are finishing their assessments and flash assessment rounds Friday. And then IO or Emergo, whoever does it, will wrap everything up, file everything where it's supposed to be, set up the voting app, and that will start, I believe, in about a week. So that's what's happening in the world of Cardano. Any questions? No, good. Kevin is working on writing a little bit of a back book for on Cardano and Charles Hoskinson for our ebook. I have started writing in earnest the sections that I am putting together, which is mostly pulling together Teresa's research, distilling it for her editing, and also adding in some color and background to Cardano for Seniors. My goal is to have the ebook, which includes Eli 65, done before the end of August 2022, this year, actually, not to say the end of August. And if you understand my sense of humor. That's an open date. I would like to get it done shortly before voting finishes so we can PR it. So, Teresa, Teresa just had a birthday, by the way. Happy birthday. And Kevin just had a birthday a couple of days after Teresa's. So happy birthday to the two of them. Teresa got a mani-pedi or something like that, I think, and a massage. How did that go? Hello? So this is how I check if people actually are sticking with this. So apparently she's walked off or not wanting to answer us, or like Bob, she can't figure out how to unmute.
Well, my mani-pedi was just great.
I'm glad to hear that, Kevin. I'm glad to hear that.
Turn my camera on, I'll show you my feet.
That's more than we information than we want to know.
Don't worry.
So, the big topic, and Kevin has, I think he's got an announcement to make, and you might want to make it, but then we'll switch over to the topic I want to discuss today, and it has to do with C4S in our future. So, what's going on, Kevin?
Well, like you said, I've been working on the book with Charles Hoskinson, created an outline, did a deep dive into his past, but for the last few days, I've actually been going through his Twitter feed, trying to get a more recent picture, more recent idea of what his agenda is, what he's been doing, his actual statements. Makes it nicer for quoting the man. There's a lot of content there, but just going through recordings, podcasts he's been doing, which helps break up the monotony of just reading about he did this, he did that. The video content sort of I think will help add a little bit more oomph to what I'm writing. Actually being able to quote him instead of just quoting third-party researchers or wikis and all of that.
Cool.
Other than that, also looking to join FTW DAO, which I just got off a Twitter space with them. They just invited me into their daily meetings, so looking to become a permanent member there, which will be nice. They accepted my application, and we'll be discussing offering me a scholarship to join the DAO, which is typically something that you have to pay to join. There's the minimum of $5,000 NFT you have to buy. It goes up to $250,000, which is helping their fundraising efforts. They're a VC fund. Not quite in the same space as Cardano Idea Scale. They're looking to fund startups, obviously, but create more of a training mental wellness platform to help ensure success, so that you don't get the failure rate some other platforms have.
Okay. Now, it sounds like an awesome opportunity. I know you've told me a little bit about it. Why don't you, you've explained a little bit to the group what FTW is. So is there more you want to add, or is that?
Well, they're chain agnostic. So it's not just the Cardano platform. Definitely all over the world. One of the members I was just speaking to is visiting her family in Morocco. The founder, CEO, whatever you may call her, Isla, aka Liza, I believe it was in Germany. Canadian members, Mexican, Peruvian. So they are all over the world. One of the BC members, Ghana. Again, I just started. I just joined the first meeting today. I'm gonna have a chance to join their daily cafe tomorrow, which I've been invited to. So even just being asked, join a meeting like that and being part of venture capital.
Yeah, that's an honor. That's awesome.
$1 billion over the next 10 years is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. So good luck to you. And there's many members. I just downloaded a staking on Cleomedes, which is a validator on the Osmo chain, and I'd gotten in a little early with them. So I just downloaded some of their staking or airdrop rewards. It's actually airdrop. And there's many people that are involved in a couple of different DAOs. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's good experience across the board because it is so new. So congrats. Any questions anybody have for Kevin about this FTW? Okay. So the topic for the agenda today is renaming and or rebranding Cardano4Seniors. And it was something that came to light a couple of months ago. I'm just moving some stuff around. I was talking to Mercy and Wada and trying to grow the Cardano4Seniors community, which is a very small community. Cardano for Climate said they just hit 300 members, but they are a year old. And I guess their climate is sexier than senior citizens. But Mercy, who I don't think is a senior citizen, or she's on the cusp, kind of like Teresa and maybe Bob, and certainly not you, Kevin, said she would not want to join because she did not want to identify as a senior. And she said, well, if you called it, and she's Wada, so she's, I believe, I don't know what country, but I believe she's from the continent of Africa, and WADA is West African Development Authority, or whatever it stands for. And she said if we called it something like Elder Lodge or Elder Community or something, she would consider joining it. Today, when I was presenting to Cardano for Climate as an impact, and they're trying to focus on impact proposals, and Cardano4Senior, the whole platform that we're working to build, is a impact proposal. All of them are impact proposals. I was asked by someone if we had an age limitation, AKA, are we discriminating? And it's coincidental. I had just put out a LinkedIn survey, I guess, and I asked people what they considered seniors to be: A over 45, B over 40, 55, C over 65. It'll run 2 weeks before I get an answer. So it started me thinking as I was answering Nori's question. I said, no, we're inclusive. We're all ages. I said, everybody needs risk management no matter what age. And then Melanie, who is the de facto leader of Cardano for Climate, said something that's been resonating with me for the last few hours. And she said, well, you know, senior, the term senior is considered by many, and she's white, but she said it's considered to be by many a white term. And thus it doesn't resonate with a lot of people. And I haven't had a lot of time. That meeting was at 11 o'clock till about noon. But you know, Mercy's thing came back to me about how she didn't want to identify as a senior, even though she might be close. Melanie's saying, well, it's considered a white term, and Nori's question is, are we discriminating by calling ourselves seniors, or are we being dismissive or exclusive? So I figured we should talk about it and kind of come up with a direction, I think a little bit more than what I had, I guess, created in a vacuum when I put the Cardano for Senior proposal in, you know, several months ago. And, you know, if we're going to be this global change organization for seniors, if we're going to do great things or try to help seniors out, do risk management, the educational platform, perhaps we need a different identity, a different mission statement. And that's kind of what I wanted to discuss today. Marco hasn't made it for a couple of weeks. Gus hasn't made it for a couple of weeks. You know, so I don't know where we're going. And I guess I'm a little rudderless is at the moment, waiting for Fund 9 votes to come in and see if we get additional funding or if you know, that's it. So I figured we'd discuss it and see what the group, as small as we are, wants to do. So I open it for discussion.
There was one thing I wanted to possibly bring up before you mentioned this at some point, and it was in regards to not necessarily rebranding, but also identifying another market. And the one thing that resonated with me was the whole findings about how seniors learn, and seniors learn in they prefer small bites and small encapsulated, and to control their own growth and what they want to learn. And that really resonated with me. And I think that could be a marketable pitch. I don't know what we would call it, but you know, something to the fact that we are presenting the material in small, easy to manage chunks, easy to manage bites, and it's easily digestible by anybody. I don't know what you want to call that, but I think what I've seen so far could easily be also branded in that manner. I do really like the concept of like, okay, well, here's 20 different videos and you can pick out what you want. And it's a 5-minute video versus a 45-minute video covering things. So, you know, for a lack of better, cardio for the time limited, maybe, I don't know, but thin slice cardio for, I don't know, but I really did like what I was seeing, and I do think it could be rebranded or additionally branded along those lines.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you could throw it into computer bytes and call it I don't know, mini bites, small educational bites. What do they do when you go on a diet? Slim down bites,
Yeah,
nano bites. There you go.
the concept I think is good. The best way to sell it, I don't know.
Well, you know, and that's why I mean, it just threw me for a loop when she said it was Melanie is Canadian, and she said, you know, it's a white term. And I guess it's to, you know, Nori's thing. It was discriminatory. I think Kevin Fry and I had a conversation last week. Are we discriminating, you know, by offering it to, are we not being inclusive? Not that we were discriminating, but Are we not being inclusive? Yeah, I like the idea of what Teresa came up with, the nano lessons, the micro, the small, time limited. And I've been doing some reading, and I've actually come up with my own hypothesis on this. And I believe it's an evolutionary adaptation for seniors, for animals, for humans that got older. I think it was a way of surviving, that they weren't taking in everything, but they had to be more focused, because physically they were slower. They were not as strong, perhaps upper body strength to run from the dinosaurs or climb the trees. So they had to be a little more focused on what they could take in, and they had to absorb it quicker. But that's just a hypothesis and has nothing to do with rebranding or changing the name. What does everybody else think, or what are some of the other ideas? Is this crazy? I mean,
Well, it kind of threw me for a loop. Actually, I had never considered it to be a racially bound term. I'd always considered it just to be I mean, if anything, it's ageism. But I'm still digesting that, and I'd never considered that. I guess, maybe that does come from being in a certain vacuum or living in a certain place. First thing I wanted to do was ask somebody about it. Obviously, I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting, so I can't do that, but
right.
I had never considered that.
Neither had I, and it just caught me so off guard, and so it displaced my comfort level. And just as you said, I never considered it, but often when you're being racist or discriminatory or ageist, it's because you're not considering it. And I haven't had much time, because I've been on meeting after meeting since then, town hall after town hall. But if you take Native Americans, what did they what were they in? Tribal councils, and it was usually the elders that ran them. Or if you take Mercies, and connotation is, well, if you called it elder council, does that not denote wisdom instead of age?
Well, I think if I recall correctly, the name you told me, Mercy, was Wisdom of Elders or Elder Wisdom, something like that.
Correct, something like that.
Council.
Yeah.
Council of Elders.
Yeah.
But I think sticking, just going to the learning platform itself, sticking with small digestible lessons is definitely the way to go. Over the last few weeks, I've taken a deep dive into a lot of other learning platforms out there. I know you're preparing for the meeting, but I'd sent you a slide of a list of DAOs, a list of platforms, bounty sites, etc. And I've used a lot of them, and they aren't simple, easy to get through. Some of them are buggy, just because the way the content is portrayed, because the way the lessons are formatted, it's actually it can be a little bit difficult or daunting to get through. I'm even in one that's like 21 days of Web3, or I forget what it is, and I get an email every day. And even that one's hard to keep up with. And it's just the way they present the information makes it, it's kind of like the Catalyst emails. If you should get notifications all the time, you're getting 200 Catalyst idea scale emails every 20 minutes. And it makes it hard to keep track of everything. So I don't think there's any problem with the idea of small digestible bites. And I definitely think that's what Teresa's research has shown. The fact that 3 people were prone to call it discriminatory, I think identifies a problem right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, ignore that. From the beginning, I had worried about women joining because, women don't want to be called.
Well, that's a discriminatory, that's an ageism thing right there. That's an assumption. Might be right, might not be, but it's a stereotype, isn't it?
Ask a woman.
Yep. And
Yep.
that's why you have to do like all like little interviews and stuff, because you have complicit bias, we all do, in our brains that we're not even aware of.
I want to roll back to the recording of Teresa being asked if she was a senior in our original.
That's a low blow. Yeah, no, you're right, Teresa. We do have that bias. I think everybody has it in their brain one way or the other. And, some of it is inherited, some of it's learned, and some of it is just institutional in a way, or in our case, geographical. So if you take the continent of Africa, and senior might be a derogatory statement, and I don't know that, but Council of Elders, senior denotes old. Council of Elders denotes wisdom. Is that a paradigm shift?
Well, I was thinking Council of Elders and then the Learning Circle, something along those lines.
I don't know.
And maybe it's because I'm staring at a circle over your left shoulder.
Well, let me ask you a question. I recall Cardano4Seniors, this organization we started and seed funded for Cardano. And we put in, though we didn't put a lot of work into it, we put in a proposal called Certify. I don't know if anybody got a chance to read it. I didn't brand logo. It was C4S, and I didn't get a lot of work put into it. So it kind of went in as a weak proposal. But it has to do with certification of blockchains against basically age discrimination. And it was for setting up a self-certifying organization. And the premise was I put it in cross-chain, whatever the category was. But the premise was to take this kind of Cardano4Seniors, grow an umbrella or a side organization and set up a certifying organization and go out to other blockchains to have them certify that they're not practicing ageism. That's going to be a new favorite term of mine for a while, Kevin, by the way.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So does Cardano4Seniors stay as just and I'm opening this up because hopefully we turn this, I would like to turn this into a DAO. I would like, and we have a fund proposal in for stake pool. We need to find stake pool operator. But a DAO of a greater thing is for seniors is possibly a greater thing than just for Cardano. And we're at a very initial stage here with 4, 5, maybe 6 people. What direction do we want to go? And where do we want to go? And in 10 years, if I'm still alive, and you guys are still alive, and hopefully you are, and hopefully I'm not, but what is it that we want to have accomplished in 10 years? Where do we want this organization to be?
You've been saying hopefully in 10 years you're not alive for 30 years, so
Yeah, but the pain's getting worse, you know.
I actually think we should use this as a marketing tool, or put it out to the community, put it out to each DAO, put it out on Twitter, put it out on Facebook, and ask the question, and then we come up with a list of a few names to be voted on.
Well, what's the question though? And why would other DAOs or organizations involve themselves?
In a possible discriminatory term,
Yeah.
I don't think you could keep people away from that sort of content.
Okay, that's my grandson yelling in the background if you hear him.
He agreed with me.
Yes.
Vote.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be used as a marketing thing, but and we could, you know, use it to build a community and invite other people in. I just, you know, I think just like you said, Kevin, I was just taken I was caught off guard by the comment.
Right.
And the sentiment, and I still am. I'm not. I haven't digested it.
As for why other DAOs would get involved, I think, and maybe it's because I've been looking into other organizations over the last few months or whatever. I've been in the chat surfing. They're not competing with each other. If anything, they're more supportive of each other. You know, they post each other's stuff in each other's channels. The list I got that I just sent you came from FTW, and it lists tweet I sent you the other day also came from FTW's channel, but was from what but it's a climate-based so if anything, I'd say they're more intertwined than you think, you know, and it's less competitive, especially when you're not in each other's space, but they spread information for each other. And maybe that's because there's a lot of members that are part of multiple DAOs.
Right. That's true too. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just I'm at a loss, and I think maybe it's just the post presentation, post proposal segment waiting to see what the vote is, but I think it's really getting hit today several times with this.
And it might mean different things in different countries.
Yeah.
You don't know what the language barrier, the translations become, and you know, that's always been on my mind ever since you told me the story of the Chevy Nova.
Yeah. You might want to share that with everybody since I've told it too many times.
Right. Well, it was one of the best-selling cars in the United States, and then they went to sell it in Spain and Mexico, and they couldn't understand why nobody would buy the car. But in Spanish, Nova means no go. So they were trying to sell the Chevy No Go.
Yeah. Not good branding, right? Not a good marketing story. So let's not have a Nova that we're trying to promote, you know. So any thoughts on this? Because I don't have a lot more to discuss, and I'm just I think we should all kind of ruminate on it, and you know, we don't have to make any decision or changes. I just think, and as Kevin said, hey, when you get three things like this in a small window, you should pay attention to it. And I think there's something more to it than what I am understanding.
At the same time, Cardano4Seniors was always intended to be an educational platform. And this might be a way for us to maybe to educate ourselves on the term itself. That none of that and create awareness of it. If this is something that offends people or is directed towards a certain segment, I mean, it's a good way to educate people about that because I had no idea.
Right. As I said, it's kind of blindsided me and caught me off guard here. So,
Well, and I was just wondering if, I'm thinking about the two people who said no and mercy. And Africa comes from a tribal background. Canada has a large Eskimo or Inuit population, I should say. Again, more of a tribal culture. Council of Elders and is a term of respect.
right. So maybe we need to, if we could all do some market research, I'll reach out to Mercy and Farket, and discuss it. I think I'll talk to a few other people, and if you could do the same, and maybe we'll have some side conversations before next week or whatever, and discuss it and think on it some more.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, conversations, discussions, ideas, anything else we should talk about?
No, I definitely think we should go along with what the obstacle in our way is.
The blocker, new term, a modern term I've learned. The blocker.
Yes. What are your blockers?
That's a big concept that was not around when I was back in business. The blockers. What are your blockers? And that's what you're talking about, T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This definitely seems to be a blocker right now. I mean, at least for you, I mean, you can see it almost pains you on your face that this is something that was pointed out you weren't aware of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is emotionally painful. Gustavo and I had been talking about doing an NFT contest prior to Grandfather's Day or Grandparents' Day, as kind of a promo thing. And I was going to bring it up today, but he apparently didn't call in. And with this other information, I just think I want to hold off on it.
Well, I know a couple of artists down here who are extremely good graphic artists on the computer who may or may not be interested in dipping their toe in the water on something like this. I could see if they'd be interested in playing around with it.
Well, if you'd like to, I mean, we can, Cardano, I forget the exact one. There's several in Cardano to put them out on. NFT Maker Pro, I think is the big one. And we were talking about doing like a first prize, 500 ADA, second prize, 300 ADA, third prize. But C4S would keep all the sales proceeds other than resales where the royalties would go to the artist.
Okay.
That was the initial thoughts, and we would probably set the royalties for resales at 20% to the artist.
Okay, send me that information.
Well, there is no, that's the information. That's what I have. We haven't.
Okay.
I haven't looked. I've been so wrapped up in the proposals and promoting the proposals. I haven't looked at a thing. Gus was supposed to be looking into it. And we just had a off the cuff conversation, so to speak, about doing a contest prior to the voting ending. And, Grandparents' Day is early September sometime. So
I'm texting right now to ask.
So, Anyhow, that's just an off the cuff thing. Yeah, the emotions on my face, as you say, and I think we need to look at this. Teresa, blockers. Why is it a blocker? So let's find that out. Bob, if you know anybody, talk to anybody,
Yeah,
have
I'll bounce it
thoughts
around.
on it. You know,
The thing is I try to finding out some people don't like the name, not good news, but much better now.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do think we could extend and expand the marketing scope and actually improve the visibility of the product. So, this isn't exactly what you want to hear, but we can turn it to our advantage.
correct.
And I think that's how we should focus on this.
I like the optimistic thought in that.
Thank
That
you.
is a positive turn. I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That'll make the rest of my night, Bob.
Well, then thank you. I'm glad I did that. So,
No, thank
but-
you.
Well, okay, you're welcome.
How many NFTs?
What's that?
How many NFTs, and what are you thinking of charging for them?
I have no idea. It's none of my ballywick. I know what NFT means, and that's about it.
Okay, well, non-fungible tokens need to be set at a certain price, but also we need to consider how many we want to put out there.
Right. And again, like I said, my head has been totally wrapped up in writing proposals and promoting proposals and doing assessments for the last 2 months.
I mean, I can make a decision on this, and if they say yes, I mean, let them decide how many different iterations they come up with. I think
Well,
you
the concept we had, sorry to cut you off, Kevin. I know how much you hate it, but we were talking about doing one per country, 195 or whatever it was. Using different flags or whatever.
Guys, I gotta go.
Oh man, she's all alone, no kid, no
No,
husband, and
I
she's
was
gotta go.
I was just registering to vote, and somehow all my ADA disappeared.
No, it's just a glitch in the system. It's there. I had negative 3,500 ADA the other day when the system glitched. It was 0, then it was negative 3,500, and then it all came back.
Yeah, Yori has synchronization issues.
Because it said I had fine, and now it says I only have 73 when I had 6,500 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a second to reload.
Okay.
Don't worry. I've had a few heart attacks myself.
Teresa, you never, this is the thing we're trying to teach you seniors. You never tell people how much you have.
Oh, sorry.
It sets you up for spamming and spoofing. And
Hey, I'm going to send you 7,500 ADA. Please send me your send address.
Okay, sure. Sorry.
just if you could post it right now, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
And don't forget your keys. Make sure
Right.
you make sure you put them on Facebook.
Right. And
Okay.
enter your spending password in the subject line of the email you send me.
Yeah, never give your value up, dollars, what you have, where you have it, etc.
That's public knowledge. I can look into that through what is it? Card Explorer.
Well, you can only look it in if you have an address.
I can find it.
I don't think so. Not without an address. You cannot identify whose it is without an address.
But I know your address, and I know you probably sent her something, so I could follow that rabbit trail.
Well, you probably could if you knew which wallet I sent it out of. Yeah. And this is why even Cardano PAs are anonymous for, I think, very good reason. And there's a debate building on that one. But VPAs are not anonymous for good reason. And you can be a PA and a VPA. And one of the things they highly recommend is don't use the same wallet address as a VPA as a PA. Because if someone gets your VPA address, they can follow it and figure out who you are as a PA.
Not only that, and this was something I was taught one of the lessons I took getting into all this. Use a different wallet for different transactions. I mean, you put it out there for airdrop. Use a different wallet than you keep all your money in.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw what happened to Solano. I mean, they're getting hacked all the time, but their wallets got hacked yesterday or today. It's ongoing.
Still happening, yeah.
It's still happening, and that's apparently some kind of packaged software that is used in, and hopefully Yori or Emergo or whomever isn't using that same software package. But it's this package is letting the hackers get into Solana wallets, draining them.
Well, there seems to be wallets that have been inactive for 6 months. So there must have been a flaw back then, the password creation, however it was, that's allowing them to get into these wallets.
Yeah. Well, it's making me seriously. I've avoided Ledger or hard wallet, but I think that's going to be a necessity. I think that's going to be my new risk management bridge.
Until you Ledger. How many
What's
wallets do you have?
I'm not going to tell you over the air how many wallets I have.
You have no access because you've lost all them over the years.
Hey, Newman, how are you? Good to.
Hey, how's it going? I'm sorry, I'm just jumping in. I like this conversation about the wallets. I definitely think a Ledger, Trezor, Ledger. There's some cool new ones that are come out, and yeah, so I'm definitely on the hardware wallet thing.
Yeah, well, we were talking about Solano, but you're just the person to join this conversation. Melanie blew me away today, and Nori hit me, and then I got hit with someone else, and it has to do with apparently the discriminatory, the ageism of the name Cardano for Seniors, and that's what this whole meeting's been about.
You said it was considered a white term, I think.
That's what Melanie said to me today at the presentation, that it's considered to be a white term, senior. And
it would be. I mean, those are two data points. It would be good to sort of just get the survey like in other cultures and to see. It does not have a connotation to me, but I'm white, so it might. But yeah, different term. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we came to a decision as a group. Is we're North American. I think almost all of us here are white. And it's not something that comes over. My sister Teresa, who's our researcher, is here, or she jumped off because of her wallet issue. But she doesn't want to reference herself as a senior.
Yeah. I mean, but it goes to that point of like, and it was a discussion that we had at the C4C. The the women's group is not just for women, and and what was the other one that we mentioned? It's basically just to segment or to highlight or to pull aside. Yeah, it is a segmentation. It is a sort of like, okay, but it's more from a perspective. It's just like this matter of perspective, which is okay when you think of all perspectives that matter, that every viewpoint and angle matter, and that the viewpoints that have been, that are systemically or systematically sort of not valued, or that's what we're bringing to the table. It's just like, oh yeah, look, there's billions of seniors, billions of people that from this perspective, whatever you call them. And that's what I think they were expressing. It wasn't any kind of a negative way, and you know that.
No, I know that, but, and as Bob said, Bob Newman, Newman Bob, Kevin
Hey,
Newman, Newman Kevin,
hey Kevin.
Nice to meet you.
as Bob said, he goes, it's not what you want to hear. And I don't want to paraphrase, Bob. Maybe you want to repeat what you said.
Well, early on, when they were talking about how seniors learn, it really resonated with me, and it was thin slices. Okay, so being told that the senior term is not a great term, it's giving us an advantage to rebrand right now. Because even before this topic came up, I was going to suggest rebranding for. I was actually thinking almost like millennials, because they want things, they want what they want, and this is how they want it, and branding to other demographics that would be interested in choosing their learning path and what they learn in increments that are, I follow people on YouTube, but I hate a 45-minute video because I sit there and I fast forward through 35 minutes to get to the part I want. Okay. So I think this is really good that this came to light now, because it'll give us a great opportunity to rebrand early on.
Well, yeah, but the rebranding and pivoting, you could do that. But would you just you rebrand it to just ELI? I like the idea. I love the idea of getting that perspective, doing the research on an aging brain. But you could, maybe what you're saying, Bob, is like just different learning styles or methods. Is that?
I think that applies to a lot more than just seniors. I've been in IT for a long time. I don't want to, I looked at Haskell. I don't want to read 3 books on Haskell. I want to know how you write something to the blockchain, okay? And finding that is a real challenge. I know from, like I say, my experience with IT, I need to know this piece. So I want to go find out that video on that. And I know that applies to a lot of the people I have worked with that are millenniums. So early on, when I was seeing that approach, I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is great. Sell it to seniors, but we might want to think of finding a way to market it to other demographics also. And this question about whether or not senior is a good term, well, I think now is a good time to discuss whether or not we want to try to remarket.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see. Okay, I think I see what you're saying. Basically, that the short video clips,
Exactly.
low cognitive load is actually a bigger thing than just seniors.
Yes.
And that now is a good time to say, maybe it's just low cognitive load.
Yes, and also the pick your own path.
Yeah. A
lot of times, that was another thing that Teresa brought up. Seniors want to find what they want to learn. So that's another thing that's nice, because it's like, I really don't care about the history of blockchain. I just want to know about ADA.
Right.
All right. I really don't care about how it compares to Bitcoin. I just want to know about ADA. So giving people that option, I think, can be leveraged.
Well, that was Tom. Were you in the town hall when the Urban D app came up, and it seemed like there was a conversation about that it just becomes invisible? That this whole blockchain thing becomes invisible and goes in the background.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah. And I think that's what you're talking about, Bob. It's just like, hey, look, you just need to do stuff. You need to, transfer money, sign up for things, get your identity.
Well, even as Kevin was pointing out earlier, and I'll say C4C is getting involved that way. And I mentioned it to you a couple of weeks ago in a side note. And Cardano certainly is heavily involved in it. It's too many notices, too much overload. Even today, trying to log into one of the meetings, I had to go searching on 5 different channels to find the Zoom link. Yeah. And every day I'm getting, now that I have my notices set up, I'm getting hit with 20 different notices. And Kevin was saying that it's too much. Yeah, it's overload. And that, I think that's what Bob is saying about the lessons, and what Teresa has done with her research is seniors, especially. And as you and I were talking earlier, I think it's a adaptation, an evolutionary adaptation.
That's a good point.
Is seniors just need to focus on what they need to know. Not that there's green trees over there, but the dinosaur is in front of them and is going to eat them. And that's what they need to focus on.
How you doing, Tom? I'm sorry,
Hello,
I'm kind of
Gustavo.
late.
That's okay. That's okay. The conversation's getting lively.
Yeah, we popped in at the. I also joined late, but it's good to see you, Gustavo. I think I saw your name on the. You're one of the principals here.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, what's your name? I'm sorry.
But that's all right. You may not have met me before. My name is Newman.
Nice meeting you, Newman.
Thank you. Good to see you.
We're all principals here, Newman. We're trying to form a DAO, is what we're working towards. So we're all going to be principals. There's just going to be the inner team and then the secondary team when it comes to tokenomics, eventually. But I think I told someone once, well, you're the boss, you're the leader, and I was always raised that way and in a ladder system until I started studying Bagua with Sifu Liu. And he said to me, well, no, it's a circle, which in African notation would be a mandala. We're on a circle.
Yeah.
And today I'm teaching you, tomorrow you're going to be teaching me. And I prefer to look at that is a better way. Is, we're all members. Today I'm the goose in the back honking you on. Tomorrow I'll be the goose in the front breaking the air, and you'll be honking me on. So.
Yeah, these terms and ways of doing things, like the circle versus a ladder, a teacher versus a goose, they really do matter. And working in this new system, I think will bring the rubber to the road. Meaning, does the DAO structure really get us to a different place? Can we build something that will avoid the pitfalls of the traditional structures? With angry teachers or whatever it is we're trying to avoid. To your point about the overwhelm, though, I do think because there aren't leaders who are like, oh, I don't want to, the powerful that don't want to hear the problem. If you're a leader of an organization and then someone says, hey, look, that's overwhelming, I can't, it's just, all these pain points, and they go up the ladder, and then the person at the top of the ladder is like, oh, no, it's not really overwhelmed, or whatever dynamic there is there. But we're really in a decentralized thing. We are in concentric circles. So we build tools. So that's one of the things that we do, is we build tools and we figure out ways to get around the overwhelm. One of the things, that C4C and Nori taking the time off.
Yeah, that was cool.
One of the things that I've done is I'm promoting that Friday newsletter for the Catalyst. Danny puts out a Friday. He says, maybe not every Friday, but there's a newsletter that comes out that will give you the sort of like, this is where we are. And so if I was going to tell someone about like my mom or my uncles that, are in that zone of like, I just need to know, the little bits about it, either to make an investment decision or to get the, whatever, that Friday newsletter is a good one.
Yeah.
And then about the information. Now that's an interesting point. It's just like, there is topical information that you need direct access to. And that's the problem that I want to focus in on. And that's beautifully stated. There was a meeting today and you couldn't find the link. And it's a horrible feeling because you feel like, oh, they're ditching me, or, that's a feeling I had from when I was a childhood. I was just like, oh yeah, this is an exclusive club and I've been, not invited. And that's not what we want to, project. No one wants their the team to be sort of squirreled away, and yeah, that can happen, and when there is a
Yeah.
the room can just move, the clubhouse can move.
Yeah. Well, it's even worse for me because as a salesman, I was always 20 minutes early.
Mhm.
And that gave my adrenaline, the flight or fight syndrome, a chance to settle down before I walked in. I wasn't stressed going into the sales call. I wasn't sweating. I had a chance. So when I can't find the damn notes and I'm not, 20 minutes or 10 minutes early and I get in 5 minutes late, I'm like, and it's mind trash. It's my mind trash. I understand it. Yours maybe is well, it's an exclusive club, and they moved and they left me hanging. That's
That's
coming
my
from,
mind trash.
that's kind of that's your mind trash.
Yeah.
Difference between New York City shit and Long Island shit.
There's so many links to different meet connections now. I mean, even finding the right one is difficult. So
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. We're gonna regroup. We're gonna look at is senior a ageist term? Does it not resonate perhaps in Africa? I got to reach out to Mercy. She was the one that it was 2 months ago or a month ago. She first made me aware of that Council of Elders or whatever. Melanie today and Nori asking if we were. I forget exactly how he put it, but basically, are you discriminating? Or are you exclusive? Or, what age do you start seniors at? So I think it's something that as a forming DAO, and we're not a year old like C4C, but we don't have 300 members. So we can pivot a little more quickly, as Bob said early on, to paraphrase what he was saying. So I think we need to look introspectively at what it means and what letters that stay with C4S can we rebrand?
Hey, Tom, that, for example, at some website, they say the elder senior citizen starts at 55 plus. Some of them says 60 plus. So it varies.
500 years ago, it would have been 35, not have been.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That gets into a whole nother discussion of child brides and all that other stupid stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, the more I've this, like when when you're first faced with it, you're like, well, don't change because of, it's a silly name, but then it's not, it could be, I don't know. I'm warming up to the idea of a rebrand, it's just like, yeah, you're right. It's still early and you can kind of show the flexibility, and these pivots are a mark of this new organizational model, is that they're very quick to sort of shift and move around. So possibly, because that's just something that everyone will like, am I a senior? And it's just like, we're all hope to be of aged, we've all hoped to be aged. We all hope to get to elders, and we all have an elder in us, like we all have like wisdom and that thing, like Bob says, it's just like, well, there are things about the ELI 65 that we all are suffering from, attention deficit, and yeah.
Too much information in our head. We cannot absorb too much. But another thing too that I've read, and just exploring the seniors plethora, they are talking about super seniors now. Super seniors beyond age 75.
I want to be one, Gus.
I was like, I know one.
No,
He's right there.
Listen, this is serious. There's a category,
Really?
emerging slowly.
Super seniors.
To be going around just and see, because I had someone tell me there's a term now considered super straight or something like that.
Super what?
Well, isn't that just straight?
Oh, you're talking about sexuality?
Yeah, yeah. So now there's a new sexual term called super straight. It was a conversation with a homosexual gentleman.
Super straight. Okay.
That one floored me too. Like, it always
That's-
be a pregnant or not pregnant situation to me, but
Yeah, if you're super straight, then maybe you could be super gay, you know, or super asexual.
or
I love it. I love it.
metrosexual, or
Why not?
or
Why not?
you know, whatever it is.
Beautiful. Everything's beautiful.
That it is. That it is. So I think we need to have a hard stop here. We already lost Teresa. I know you guys came in late, and it's a great conversation.
Yeah.
I got a grandson downstairs. I got to go cook dinner for her. And the only topic we had tonight was rebranding. What do we do? Name change. And I would ask everybody to do a little research, a little reach out, a little introspective thinking about it. Is it ageist? Do we pivot? As Bob said, early is better. As Newman says, it shows that we're flexible and we're responsive to what we're hearing. And when you hear three things of the same thing in a day, as I did, I think you got to pay attention.
Yeah.
And this girl from Trinidad, Jamaica. This is recorded, so I'm keeping it a secret, but from one of those islands. So I'm gonna ask her. I mean, I had never considered it, but
Well, Gus is from one of those islands. Why don't you ask him?
Yeah.
Gus, I mean, what do you think of this?
Well,
The term senior, is it ageist? Is it discriminatory? Is it?
no. I mean, it's normal. I mean, seniors are seniors. You know what else? Elders.
Yeah, well, you missed the beginning of the meeting, so you didn't get the whole conversation.
No. So you're trying to change seniors into something different?
No, just trying to be sensitive.
Oh, well, seniors is just fine. I don't know why you guys are
Well, I was told today that it was a white term.
a white term.
A white term. I was asked if we were. I forget how he put it, but basically, were we discriminating against the youth? Is what I heard. It's not what he said.
Well,
But
if you look at the plethora of different ages and different millennials and Gen X and all that stuff, everybody's discriminating against each other. I mean, seniors are seniors.
Well, I would circle back to him and ask him if that's what he meant.
I can do that. But as Teresa said earlier, she goes, we all have an innate bias in us. And you know, in Ghana, as I found out, you have to retire at 60. It's mandatory. I think France is it 50 or 55. I read somewhere is retirement. So and maybe that's a nice thing to retire at that age. As long as you can continue working. In Ghana, apparently they cannot. So anyway, if we look at it, let's think about it. Let's circle back and let's pick up this conversation at our next weekly meeting, if that's okay.
How about gray haired?
Yeah, gray could be. Yeah, that could be a golden, sunset.
The
Elder.
golden age, man. The golden age. Diamond age.
The silver tsunami.
I like the silver
Silver
tsunami.
Tsunami. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Everybody,
All right.
thank you for joining. Newman, thank you very much. We're honored by your presence. Gus, thank you for stopping in. Bob, is always great. Kevin, again, happy birthday and
Happy birthday.
thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye, all.
Okay, bye.
Okay, Kevin. See you, Dwayne.
Have a good day, Gus.
You too.